Assalamu alaikum everyone. I am Amina Hamid from International Islamic University of Malaysia. Today I will give a presentation on Sayyid Abul Ala Maududi's book, Towards Understanding Islam. Now first of all, talking about the author, Sayyid Abul Ala Maududi was a renowned Islamic scholar, thinker and founder of Jamaat-e-Islami. He sought to present Islam as a rational and complete way of life rooted in reason, reflection and submission to Allah. In his seminal work Towards Understanding Islam, he portrays Islam not just as a ritualistic religion, but rather as a natural state of all creation, of the universe at large. In this topic that I have chosen from a section from chapter 1, he eloquently explains how submission to Allah is the foundation of the universe, emphasizing the unique role of human beings in achieving completeness in their faith, in their Islam, through conscious submission. The topic that we'll be delving into is the dual nature of submission, involuntary and conscious obedience to Allah. Starting with the introduction, the entire universe, in its obedience to the divine law of God, the natural physical laws that Allah has set this universe in motion, can be said to follow the religion of Islam. For Islam signifies nothing but submission, obedience to Allah, the Lord of the universe. So in that sense, everything in this universe is Muslim. Maududi explains that everything in the universe is Muslim, for it obeys God by submission to His laws. The sun, the moon, the earth, and all other heavenly bodies are Muslim. Likewise, air, water, heat, stones, trees, all animals, everything is Muslim, as they only operate within God's laws, the laws that Allah has ordained for us. This inherent submission applies even to humans, not just other non-living creatures. Even a person who denies God or worships a being other than Allah, in essence, he or she is a Muslim as far as his existence is concerned, because their body follows the divine law throughout their life, whether they are willingly wanting it or not. So it is from the embryonic stage up to the death, they keep following Allah's ordained physical, natural, biological laws. The universal submission of creation. As we said, that everything is submitting to God, even though it's involuntary. Every muscle, every organ, every tissue, every cell operates according to God's design. The tongue, which may deny God out of ignorance, is inherently Muslim. The head, which bows in front of others other than Allah, is born Muslim. Even the heart, which may cherish love and reverence for someone other than Allah, is intuitively Muslim. This cherishing of love and reverence in someone's heart for a being other than Allah may be out of a lack of knowledge, but the heart has intuitive knowledge and it is actually Muslim. These elements, all of these elements, they are governed by divine law, fulfilling their functions as ordained by Allah. Now there are two spheres of human life. Examining this from another perspective, Maududi explains that human life operates in two distinct spheres. The first one is involuntary submission to divine law or divine will. Like all other creatures, man is bound by and completely regulated by the divine law. The biological functions, the growth and death, all of it, they occur according to Allah's will only. But then there is the second sphere of man's activity. In the other sphere of his activity, man has been endowed with reason with intellect and the power of choice. He can think, he can form judgments, and choose any faith or ideology he likes as his way of life. Unlike other creatures, he has the freedom of thought, he has the freedom of choice and also action. That is, we can say he has free will. So what sets humans apart from others, apart from other creations, is this endowed intellect. It's this freedom of choice, it's this free will. Maududi eloquently notes, he has the power to think and form judgments, to choose and reject, to approve and spurn. He is free to adopt whatever course of life he chooses. This brings us to the key point of this discussion: conscious submission and the completeness of Islam. These two dimensions, the involuntary and the voluntary sphere, they coexist in every person. In the first, man is a born Muslim, invariably and voluntarily obeying God's physical laws. In the second, he is free to choose whether or not to become a Muslim. This choice is what divides humanity between believers and non-believers. Maududi explains that while humans are born Muslim in their physical existence, it is their conscious choices that determine their spiritual alignment. A person who acknowledges Allah as the creator, as their master, and submits to his laws voluntarily achieves completeness in his Islam. Thus, a believer is someone who consciously acknowledges Allah as his creator, as his master, submitting to his laws in both realms of life. In the words of Maududi, he has achieved completeness in his Islam by consciously deciding to obey God in the domain in which he was endowed with the freedom of choice. So man, by doing this, chooses Allah not just in the first domain where he could not have any say, where he had to be Muslim because he was following the physical laws of nature ordained by Allah, the divine law of Allah. But he is choosing Allah in the other domain as well, in which he was the person at the helm of affairs, in the sphere in which he was the person with a lot of choices, in which he made an effort, it is a manifestation of his own free will that he chooses to be a Muslim by believing that yes, it is Allah who created me and submitting to Allah's will. Maududi emphasizes he is a perfect Muslim. His submission of his entire self to the will of Allah is Islam and nothing but Islam. In doing so, the believer is thus consciously submitting to God, whom he had already been obeying unconsciously. This conscious submission bridges the gap between involuntary obedience and deliberate faith. This decision brings clarity and balance to their intellect and judgment. In the words of Maududi, his reason and judgment are set on an even keel, for he has rightly decided to obey the being who bestowed upon him the faculty of thinking and judging. By choosing to align their intellect, emotions, and actions with Allah's will, a believer achieves harmony with the whole universe and with their Creator. Their entire existence becomes an embodiment of truth as they willingly submit in all aspects of life. Now, talking about the transformation which is brought about by this conscious submission. When a person consciously submits to Allah, every aspect of their existence is a manifestation of this alignment only. Maududi describes this beautifully. His tongue is truthful, for it expresses the belief in the Lord who gave it the faculty of speech. Now the whole of his existence is an embodiment of truth. For in all spheres of life, he voluntarily as well as involuntarily obeys the laws of one God, Lord of the universe. This transformation is what brings peace, as the believer aligns themselves with the universal worship of Allah. Maududi writes again, now he is at peace with the whole universe, for he worships him whom the whole universe worships. So such a man becomes God's vice-regent, Khalifa, on earth, living a life of purpose and fulfilling their role of harmony with creation, while at the same time satisfying their own intellect, their own reason, their own judgment. Now, a part for us to reflect on as we draw towards the conclusion is Maududi's insights on the dual nature of submission offer a profound understanding of Islam as both a natural state and a conscious choice. He reminds us that while involuntarily obedience is inherent to all creation, whether or not they profess to be Muslims, whether or not they are living, it is a quality, it is a trait, it is an involuntary obedience which is inherently present in every creature, in every being. But it is the voluntary, conscious submission that elevates humans to a state of completeness in their faith. Let me close with Maududi's powerful words about a perfect Muslim. The whole world is for him and he is for God. This is the ultimate purpose of human life, to align our free will with the divine will and achieve peace within ourselves and also with the universe. This is all from me. Thank you.